The air in Sarah's bedroom always felt heavier at night. It started with small things, a flicker of movement in the corner of her eye, the unsettling sensation of breath on her neck as she drifted off. She'd jolt awake, heart hammering, scanning the dark room. Nothing. Just the faint glow of streetlights through the curtains, the hum of the refrigerator downstairs. Sleep paralysis, she told herself. Just your mind playing tricks. But the feeling never went away. Then came the sounds. A soft creak of floorboards when no one else was home. The rustle of fabric from inside her closet, even though she never left the doors open. One night, she woke to the distinct sensation of fingers brushing her ankle. She screamed, flinging the blankets off, but the room was empty. Her friends dismissed it as stress. Her doctor suggested therapy. Then, on a quiet Tuesday evening, Sarah dropped her earring behind her dresser. As she reached into the narrow gap to retrieve it, her fingers grazed something cold and smooth, *a latch star. Heart pounding, she pulled. A hidden panel in the back of her closet swung open, revealing a cramped crawl space. Dust swirled in the beam of her phone's flashlight, illuminating a path of footprints in the insulation, leading straight to the adjacent wall of her neighbor's apartment. And then she saw the notes. Tucked beneath her mattress, yellowed pages detailed her routines, her nightmares, even the way she murmured in her sleep. The handwriting was neat, almost clinical. Sarah talks to herself at 2:17 a.m. again. She still doesn't lock the windows. The truth crashed over her like ice water. For years, he had been there. Watching. Waiting. And worst of all, she'd let him in. The apartment was too good to be true. When Mark signed the lease, he couldn't believe his luck: spacious rooms, original hardwood floors, and rent half the going rate. Just need some love, the landlord, Mr. Harlow, had said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. The man's grip was clammy when they shook hands. The first night, Mark heard the scratching. It came from inside the walls, a skittering, like rats. But the exterminator found nothing. Then came the whispers, so faint they could have been the wind, if not for the way they stopped the moment he held his breath. You're home early. Mark froze mid-step one evening, key still in the door. The voice had been clear, a man's, muffled but close. He tore apart the apartment. Empty. The air vents breathed back. Late one sleepless night, a glint caught Mark's eye. The ceiling vent in his bedroom was ever so slightly misaligned. Standing on the bed, he peered inside, and choked back a scream. A single bloodshot eye stared back. Wood splintered as Mark ripped the vent cover free. The duct led upward into darkness, and the unmistakable smell of sweat and stale coffee. He followed it on hands and knees, heart slamming against his ribs, until the tunnel opened into a hidden room. A cot. A hot plate. And walls papered with photos of himself, sleeping, showering, reading on the couch. Dates scrawled beneath each one in Mr. Harlow's looping handwriting. The worst part. The fresh pot of coffee, still warm. Mark had never changed the locks. The house smelled exactly as Ethan remembered, musty attic air mixed with the faint scent of his mother's lavender polish. 20 years had passed, yet the floorboards still creaked under the third step from the top, just like they had when he'd sneaked downstairs after bedtime. The new owners, the Wilsons, had invited him in during their renovation. "We found something you should see," Mrs. Wilson said, her voice tight. Ethan's childhood bedroom was smaller than he recalled. The dinosaur wallpaper had been stripped away, exposing the plaster beneath. Mr. Wilson pried loose a baseboard near the closet, revealing a hollow space. Dust swirled as he pulled out a yellowed envelope. The Polaroids spilled across the floor like dead leaves. Ethan's blood turned to ice. Each photo showed the same scene, his childhood self, asleep in this very bed. The dates scrawled in the margins spanned 3 years. In some, a shadow loomed at the edge of the frame, just beyond where the nightlight's glow reached. The worst was dated 2 days before they'd moved away. A close-up of his sleeping face. A gloved hand brushing his hair. And in the corner, the unmistakable gleam of their old house key dangling from a familiar keychain, the one his father kept on his workbench in the garage. Mrs. Wilson's voice trembled. The contractor found more behind every outlet cover. We think someone was living in the walls." Ethan stared at the photos, suddenly remembering what he'd told his parents every morning for years. Asterisk, the closet man visited again last night. Asterisk. They'd called it night terrors. Given him medication. But the proof was here in his shaking hands, his childhood nightmare had been real all along. The Silent Pines. The rental listing had promised complete isolation, just what the exhausted city dwellers needed. That first night, Mia woke to scraping outside their bedroom window. "Probably just branches," Jake mumbled, pulling her close. But at dawn, they found the marks, 5 parallel grooves in the frost outside the glass. Like fingernails dragged through ice. The days brought more signs. A warm coffee mug left on the porch swing. Footprints in the snow that stopped mid-stride. The faint smell of body odor that came and went. On the 4th night, the breathing began. Mia bolted upright at 3:17 a.m., her skin prickling. The digital clock's glow revealed nothing, but the sound was unmistakable, wet, rhythmic inhales coming from beneath their bed. Jake found the loose floorboard by accident during his panicked search. His phone flashlight revealed a crawlspace just large enough for a man to curl up in. The nest of blankets was still warm. And then the flashlight caught the writing. Scratched into every wooden beam were dates going back years. The most recent read that morning's date, followed by asterisk, Mia sleeps on her left side. Jake snores. They fight about money. Asterisk. As they backed away, something glinted in the corner, a single rusted screwdriver plunged deep into the wood. A makeshift peephole aimed directly at their bed. The forest around them had never sounded so quiet. The digital clock glowed 3:33 a.m. when Lauren awoke standing in her driveway, bare feet numb against the frozen concrete. This marked the 7th time this month. Her therapist, Dr. Voss, called it extreme parasomnia, and adjusted her medication. The clues didn't add up until the morning Lauren found pine needles in her bed. She lived in the city. The nearest trees were miles away. That night, Lauren set up her laptop to record. The video showed her rising at 2:17 a.m., moving with purpose to the front door where a shadowy figure waited. Their gloved hands guided her into a waiting car. The timestamp blurred as the camera was knocked aside. Confronting Dr. Voss only earned more prescriptions. Dissociative episodes, he murmured, fingers steepled. We should increase your dosage. The breakthrough came when Lauren woke mid-episode, strapped to a cold metal table under blinding lights. The smell of antiseptic burned her nose. Dr. Voss stood over her, clipboard in hand, noting her pupil dilation. You're awake early, he said, disappointed. Lauren's screams were swallowed by soundproofed walls as she read the charts lining them, years of handwritten observations tracking her reactions to various drugs, her fear responses, how long each episode lasted. The worst discovery waited in his desk drawer: keys to her apartment, a collection of her nightgowns, and a leather-bound journal titled Subject 12, Somnambulist Conditioning Progress. Her final entry read, *, nearly ready for Phase 3. *.